bit about one of the things we already touched up on, which was my charity, Life is a Ball. So I started this charity with just a couple friends of mine, and the entire idea behind the charity was that a single ball could actually change the way a kid looks at things and the way a kid has his entire childhood. So that concept of just one single ball changing a person's life made a lot of sense to us, because it was not specifically tennis or football or anything else. It was just the concept of a kid playing any sport that he loved and learning and growing through that sport. So the name Life is a Ball seemed very apt at the time. And the way the charity began, to be honest, was, one day we were just kind of hanging out and said, let's go and create a football match for some kids in an orphanage. So there's about 30 kids there. So we took that ball, we went over there, and we had a great time. The kids had a blast. We served them some food, but then we realized that that wasn't sustainable. The kids had a great time, but the next day they forgot about it, and life went on and nothing really changed. So we realized the only way we could actually impact these kids is if we were with them on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, actually monitoring them. And once we understood that once they fell in love with sport, they would start following the right ways, whichever way that was, because sport always teaches you the principles, the discipline, so many different things you can learn from: how to deal with wins, how to deal with losing, how to deal with winning, how to deal with pressure. There's so many different things, teamwork. So we just believe that all we needed to do is provide these kids an opportunity to play sport, and then you could actually change their lives. And so that's how that began. That was back in 2013. And like you said, we work with over 10,000 kids every year, and that's something I'm very proud of. So honestly, I retired about 3 years ago now, or just over 3 years ago. And generally my entire life I've been a pretty motivated and driven person. So after retirement, after about 3-4 months of not doing much, coming back to Chennai, going in hardcore into startups, sports startups, and basically my way of looking at it is social entrepreneurship, because of course I have my charity as well, but the general idea behind everything I'm trying to do is to say, sport can have a very positive impact on the lives of not just children, but adults as well. There was a very interesting statistic, and I'm just going to end my speech in a couple of minutes, but there was a very interesting statistic that a Harvard study actually had that said two of the most important things in life, at the end of a person's life, are health and happiness. And interestingly, India is, in the global health index, India is outside 100. And the funny thing about that is the countries that are better off health-wise, the only thing that's different is their culture of sport. So imagine, for example, asking someone in the States, have you worked out? How often do you work out? And they say, once a week. And imagine someone in India saying, how often do you work out? And they say, once every 2 months. So that's really the difference in culture. So everything that I'm trying to do with every startup or charity or any other consulting that I do is all about how do we create an ecosystem where every single person feels like they have access to sport, and they actually want to play. Regardless of where in the spectrum of society they stand, sports should be accessible to everyone. So and this kind of award really motivates me to kind of continue doing these kind of things and maybe add some nice things to the city, and hopefully in a few years, we'll all be more sports oriented, and Chennai will continue to kind of be as great of a city as it is. Thank you so much, guys, for your work.
Thank you, Sandeep. I now request Rotarian.
And everything I'm trying to do is to say, sport can have a very positive impact on the lives of not just children,